Every KVK in Rise of Kingdoms has its drama, and my main account KVK already has a huge amount of drama. This is 1175's Kingdom Mail, one of the biggest kingdoms in our KVK, that's got Mimi's account in there, actually 2 of them, that are over 1 billion power. And they're saying, you know what? We're not even going to participate in this KVK at all. So stick around in this video for a breakdown of what the heck is happening in my KVK and how the ally situation has changed dramatically. If you like drama, this video has more than its fair share. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and here we are with another drama video. My main account is now in 2605, where we're building a kingdom that is designed to be a 1 to 2 alliance kingdom, and it's going pretty well so far. And we're in our first KVK. This is what I announced the allies to be. Now, this in and of itself is a huge source of drama. And then there's the Kingdom Mail from 1175 saying, you know what, if this is the allies, we're not even going to fight in this KVK. So I'm going to do a couple things in this video. First of all, I want to break down some of the drama on the map because there's so much drama between some of these kingdoms. It's actually insane. Then I'm going to share the message from 1175. Then I'm going to share what the new ally situation looks like and just a little bit of how we got there, okay? So let's start with the drama that's here on the map, because you may notice that 2605, my new kingdom, is fighting my old kingdom. And that in and of itself is drama. If you even just exclude the fact that the reason we ultimately left that kingdom is because we were being treated really terribly, the drama between 2605 and 1254 is massive. Okay, absolutely massive. And then we look to the other side of the map, and we're allied with 1846. Okay, so we're started over here. We look on the opposite corner. 846 is a kingdom that we have fought against many times. Many times. So you may be wondering, what an interesting situation that you are allied with 846 here. But let me tell you something. At the end of the last KVK, when I was just receiving an astronomical amount of harassment, 846 stepped in and they said, if anyone from our kingdom sends you anything hateful or inappropriate, just give me the name. And I let them know, look, I just delete that stuff as soon as it arrives. I don't really look at it or really think much about it. But they said, look, all you got to do is give us the name. You don't even need to prove to us that they were hateful. We'll trust your word. We will deal with it. And I was actually just really impressed with the extent to which 846 stood up against hateful behavior. I was just really impressed with the extent to which they did that. I was like, wow. And I can't praise enough that they had done that, because I just felt, I mean, look, if you've got dozens and dozens and dozens of hateful messages coming your way, for a group to reach out and say no one from our kingdom will behave this way and we will punish them severely if they do, I thought that was really cool. Okay, and that's, I think, enough about that drama. So I just have a lot of respect for 846 after that unfolded. In addition, there's 1302. Okay, now 1302, they were our allies last KVK. They flipped the table. They were allied with 846 and 365, the group that ultimately won the KVK, because they felt like there wasn't going to be enough fighting if the 3 of them were allied together, which was absolutely the case, by the way. So 1302 took a way harder fight than they had set up. I mean, they had an easy win in their pocket. They took the harder fight instead. They made one of the most legendary fort walls of all time. Okay? And they executed it to perfection for 12 days. Okay? And I say to perfection, but yeah, okay. Mistakes are obviously made along the way here and there. I understand that. But the fact that they built a wall and held off 846 and they got into a zone they shouldn't have been able to get into was so damn impressive. Okay? So 1302 is in this KVK. And on top of that, 1175 is in this KVK. Now, I already told you Mimi's in 1175 with, I believe, still 2 billion power accounts. That's 2 1 billion power accounts. And also, on top of that, Saz, who was with me in 1254, is now in 1175 with his group. Saz was originally from 556, that group where there was a huge rivalry between 1254 and 556 for a really long time. So there is so much drama on this map, it's actually insane. In fact, there's even more drama. There's this one dude, Clubman, who I have been fighting against and seen in the most intense KVKs. I don't know how this dude does it, but he is like an oracle for finding the kingdoms that are going to have either big fights or big drama, and he's there, and it's actually just really impressive. I don't know how he knows which kingdoms to migrate to all the time to find big fights. But it's an 1175. He's got, I don't know, like at least 40 billion kill points, maybe 45, maybe even pushing 50 at this point. I'd have to look it up, okay? But Clubman has done some serious fighting. A dude throws down. So there's all that drama on the map. And then 1175 sent this message. Let me show it to you. About 24 hours have passed since the matchmaking was announced. Contrary to the expectations of finding the optimal balance through conversation, the two camps talked about only one composition as if they had made an appointment in advance. And a unilateral allies composition was announced a few hours ago without converging on the opinions of the composition. I've talked about the irrationality and imbalance of this composition for the past few hours with other camps, but no answers come back from the two camps that insist on this composition from the beginning. Since they only insist on this composition from the beginning, I had enough time to talk with our members about the composition, so I conclude that 1175 won't participate in this KVK. Now, this is a big deal. This is actually a big problem. There's a lot that happens when there's not enough fighting in a KVK. Let me explain this really quickly. The downfall of 1254 started when we were in a KVK where the kingdoms decided not to fight us. Starving us of fights meant that we retained too much power. Retaining too much power meant that we couldn't get matches later. Not getting matches for too long meant that people got bored, and when they got bored, they started fighting with each other and deciding to quit the game. It was a disaster. It was a complete disaster. The lack of fighting in a KVK was the beginning of the downfall of 1254. That is how it started. And so if we look at this message, 1175 won't participate in KVK, this is actually really scary. It's scary for the future of 1175, but also it's scary for the future of literally every kingdom in the KVK, especially the bigger kingdoms. That's 2605, 1254, and also 846, who are Imperium status. Because if you don't drop power, you start to reach a point where you can never leave Imperium. You can never lose, gain new players. And that's it. That's how your kingdom ends. So this situation needs to be remedied. There cannot be a world where we continue forward in this KVK where 1175 is not participating. We have to remedy this. Now, there's a bunch of ways that this could have unfolded. I think that the original ally situation that we had proposed to 846 is that the two of us try to take on the rest of the map. And instead, we sort of arrived at the top versus bottom situation that I showed you in the previous picture. But now, this is what the allies are going to look like. This is 2605 and 1195 in my war camp, allied with 1302 and 2026. Remember, we were allied with 1302 last KVK. And Mimi's kingdom, who was originally looking at the allies saying, you know what, we're not going to participate if this is how it's going to be. They said, cool, we'll fight this. This is a KVK we'll fight in. So how does this change the balance of the KVK? I mean, there's some obvious swaps here, right? What's basically happened is 846 is now paired with the 1254 group, and the 2605 kingdom is now paired with Mimi's kingdom, right? The right side is basically swapped who was an ally. And there's actually some really interesting implications for, like, how do the zones even unfold? So let's go in and actually map this out a little bit. The first thing I'll point out is that I think 846 is stronger than 1175, which is the reason why they were like, bro, we can't even fight this KVK, that this is not a fair setup. So I don't think that 1175 takes the 1v1 versus 846, or if they do, like, I don't think that they necessarily are going to win. And that's not a disrespect to our allies. I think that's just an acknowledgement that 846 is like a 3 alliance kingdom and 1175 is like a 2 alliance kingdom. So this zone, I think, would flip to 846. This zone for them is free at the start, okay? Then you've got the 1254 fight. Man, how does that go? Look, it's a rivalry with 1254, but we're taking this zone if we're fighting 1254, all right? We're taking this zone. Look, I don't know if this is actually the strategic way that we're going. I'm just saying, like, I think we take that zone if we fight them. I don't know if we take these kingdoms on the left, but, like, I think theoretically we could take that zone. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I draw this map red or I draw it black, but let's just let's just assume 1254 looks at fighting us and they're like, actually, we're going to fight 1302 instead. So this fight would happen over here. I'm just trying to guess how this would unfold. There'd be some fight over here. I think that if this zone ultimately is free to us, we'd turn around and fight over here. Okay. I don't know who wins in this fight, but I'll give this zone as obviously free. Okay, so this is the first pass opening and what the situation looks like. From here, something interesting happens. You can move into the next zone. So I think we're taking this zone. And at this point, the 1254 crew, I mean, I think they would get locked in this situation. Is that how that unfolds? Meanwhile, the 846 team advances into here. They get this for free. We get this zone for free. And then fights happen as passes open, probably across these areas. Like this. Okay? The other way that this could go is that, you know, maybe 1254 wins their fight. So if 1254 wins this fight, okay, and we take this zone and this zone, things get kind of interesting for how it unfolds. I think that ultimately still leads to us, like, getting this zone. So I don't know that that's what they want to do. How else could they run this? They could try to pinch our kingdom 2605. Maybe that's the play, actually. So if they pinch our kingdom 2605, I mean, I think we win which way we fight, and I think we're going to fight 1254. Like, I don't think it's controversial to say we would go fight them. Does this make the situation better for them? I mean, if 1254 runs this way and we beat them, then 1302 gets this zone for free. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe it's presumptuous to think that we would win in our fight. I don't know, man. But I'll say this. I want to offer nothing but respect to the allies and enemies that we have in this KVK. Again, I have a lot of respect for 846 based on the sort of way that they held up a standard at the end of the last KVK that I just really appreciated for conduct. And I think this is going to be a really fun KVK to watch, for real, man. I mean, the drama is, feel like it's just warming up. Although I swear, I hope it's done now. I hope that now that the matchmaking is more settled, that, like, we get to fight a KVK and we see what happens. I'm eager for it, man. We got to throw down. And on the topic of throwing down, let me show you how things unfolded after I stopped streaming during the fighting in my restart account. So this is the zone we were fighting in, and as you can see, it's flipped entirely to our colors. There is still an RD2K fort. I actually am really surprised that, like, every time I look over here, there seems to still be fighting, because, like, this is done, right? But people are just having some fun field fighting, which, all right. I kind of agree with this marker that's like, yeah, you know, make sure you can still fight in Kingsland. That's really important. But this zone we locked up. Our allies locked up a zone up over here. That's Fame. They took their zone over here. Really happy about that. And then I believe that our allies over here said, yeah, we can't beat these guys. We're not going to fight in this zone, which I think was a smart choice. I think that's what happened. Because we're up against 2 Imperium kingdoms and we have 0 Imperium kingdoms. So we took on 2K that had flipped to Imperium. And then our allies over here were like, yeah, we're not taking the other Imperium by ourselves. So they basically chilled on that fight and are setting up forts. And I don't know what their territory is going to look like here, but my understanding is that first thing that's going to happen is that pass 9s are going to open, which will allow for fighting in the zone over here, which is kind of interesting. And then pass 8 open again, so they won't be protected anymore. So we can actually invade Kingdom 2000, which is, I mean, I don't think that's an easy thing to do. Presumably they'll build a lot in the zone, and, you know, they've already got a fort here. Maybe there will be more, right? So I think this is going to be really interesting as it unfolds. Consider subscribing if you want to see that. Of course, if you want to see my original video showcasing, hey, look, our 2605 KVK had his allies determined. Who knew how much that would change? Card will be in the end screen for that. If you want to see the live stream, where honestly I was having a lot of fun playing the game, card will be in the end screen for that one as well, where I was battling in this zone.